Hello everyone, this is Coach Larry coming at you live on Sunday night, and I just want to send out a big thank you to all of you who are tuning in and choosing to watch us over the Oscars. Yes, I know Jimmy Kimmel is hosting, and of course Justin Timberlake is performing, but you know what? I can't think of anything more exciting than I Swim 1-to-1 Sunday night over the Oscars. I mean, what's the Oscars anyway? You know, a lot of great movies and all that stuff, but this is riveting material right here. Sunday night, 1-to-1, hands down over the Oscars. So thanks for joining us. So, very busy weekend this weekend. I just want to give a couple of shout outs to some swimmers around the country. First of all, the swimmers in North Carolina. Excellent job by many swimmers at the 14 and under state championships this weekend. Excellent job. Lots of 1-to-1 swimmers were up there. Way to go, you guys. Really good stuff. Also, wanted to give a shout out to a coach who used to swim for me back in the day. Her name is Ellie Greer. Ellie, congratulations to you. Ellie is the coach at Warren Wilson College. My bad. Congratulations, because she, along with the work of her athletic director and several other people on their team, got funding from Buncombe County to completely revamp and reopen the pool at Warren Wilson College, sending that program into a great new direction for the future. So congratulations, Ellie, and all of the people at Warren Wilson College. Also wanted to have a shout out. Oh, by the way, Ellie is part of our iMentor 1-to-1 program, which is really cool. It's new this year. And so if you know any coaches who are either new to coaching, or maybe they've been in the business for a number of years, but they're just looking for some fresh ideas, we're starting to do some really good mentoring, some coach mentoring here at iSwim 1-to-1. So you can have them get in touch with us. We'll have some really cool stuff in store for them. Also wanted to give a quick shout out to Severio. Severio is a swimmer who lives up in New Jersey. He was part of our remote 1-to-1 this week, where we did some online coaching through the help of freeconferencecall.com. So we were able to connect, watch videos of his swimming. I was able to give him some coaching over the internet live, and we recorded it. So Severio, nice job. I'm looking forward to seeing some great stuff coming from you in the weeks and months ahead. And finally, I want to give a shout out to some swimmers who have been working with us just this week. We had a very busy weekend today, this weekend. We had Jack and Addie and Sophie and Austin and Neely and Issa and Layla and Dylan and Caroline and Charlie. Charlie, in fact, was brand new on board this week. So Charlie, welcome aboard. Other new swimmers who came on board just this week to work with iSwim 1-to-1 were Sophia and Lainey and Sydney and Lily. So lots of really cool stuff happening. In fact, we even talked a lot of the stuff that we're going to talk about tonight was discussed this weekend with these swimmers. So really, really good weekend. By the way, remember, how are your goals going? We are very, very close to people's final championship meet of the season. So it's time to review your goals. Make sure you've got them in mind. Make sure you're living them and breathing them each day. Review them. Talk about your goals with your coach. Get ready to achieve them in the upcoming weeks, because championship time is upon us. This is the time that we've all been working for, right? Many of you started back in August, working through September, October, November. Then you had your Christmas training, and then the January meets, February getting ramped up, and now March is here. March is, well, just this week. It's coming around the corner. So really, really important to get those goals in line for championship season. Okay, now let's talk about the topic at hand tonight, which is chart your course. With championship season upon us, it is so important to chart your course as you are going into these championship meets. Now, what do I mean by charting your course? What I mean is coming up with a race plan for the various races that you have coming up. We don't want to just wing it. We don't want to arrive at our championship meet, something we've been working for and goaling for and planning on all season long. We don't just want to show up and go, well, I sure hope this goes great. Here goes nothing. No, you want to chart your course. You want to have a plan. You want to have a race plan for each event that you have coming up at your championship meet. Don't worry, it doesn't have to be complicated. In fact, race plans should be pretty simple. Pretty simple. In fact, they should be very familiar to you. You should be thinking about them now. You don't want to arrive on deck at your championship meet and walk up to your coach and say, "Hey coach, how you doing? How do I swim the 400 IM?" You know, your coach will probably look at you with a blank stare and go, "You've got to be kidding me. you can't be serious. You've got to be joking." See, you got to know your race plan in advance. It's kind of like this. Imagine you're going on a journey. Okay, and I've got my trusty iPad here. And imagine I'm going on a journey from here in Charlotte, North Carolina, down to Fort Myers, Florida, where some really cool people live. All right, so I'm gonna map it out, right? I'm gonna get on my Google Maps on my iPad, and I'm gonna say, you know what? I need to get from point A to point B. How am I gonna get there? I'm not just gonna say, well, you know, I know Fort Myers is south of here. So let's see, south is there, so see ya, right? No, that would be silly for me just to head south and hope that I arrive in Fort Myers. I might end up in Augusta. I could watch the Masters. Or I might end up in Miami, right? I could go watch the Heat play. No, I want to go to Fort Myers. So I am going to put together a very specific plan to get there. All the way down, I'm going to follow the course. I'm going to chart my course, and then I'm going to follow the plan. And that's the way you need to approach your races as it relates to your championship meet. So let's talk about some of these things. First of all, you need to get together with your coach. Not on the day of your meet. Now, you need to get together with your coach and say, I just want to make sure that I understand my race plan for these races that are coming up. So important. Because when you have that race plan, when you have the map in how to get from point A to point B, you have so much more confidence. You know, again, if I just point my car south and hope I get to Fort Myers, it's not going to happen. But if I have a map, I know where I'm going. I can have confidence heading in that direction. And you want to have confidence because look, when you get to that championship meet, you're going to be nervous. And by the way, being nervous is good. Okay, it doesn't feel good, but it is good. Swimmers, hear me. I know when you stand behind the block and you get that feeling in your gut, the butterflies in the stomach, it doesn't feel good, but it is good because that's the way your body prepares for competition. So we want to have a plan. We want to have confidence. So go to your coach now and come up with your plans. So there are some specific aspects of your plan that you want to confirm with your coach. So for example, let's say you're doing the 400 IM. You want to know, how am I going to divide up this race? Am I just going to dive in and sprint the whole thing? You better not, or else you're going to collapse, probably by about the 4th lap, okay? And it's 16 laps long, 16 laps. So you got to have a plan. What is your plan? How are you going to divide up that 400 IM? A lot of people go 50 build, 50 attack on each of the hundreds of the 4 100s in that 400 IM. 50 build, get into your stroke, 50 attack. Then comes the next stroke, backstroke, 50 build, 50 attack. Okay, so you want to know how to divide up your race. Let's say you're going to swim the 100 fly and you're going to swim the 200 fly. It's a very different race plan. Okay, it's different, the different ways that you divide it up. You're going to have to breathe differently. Last week we talked about breathing. So you need to come up with a breathing plan. Not just how do I divide up the race, but how am I going to breathe in the different parts of the race. So for the 100 butterfly, you're probably going to breathe every other stroke. But for the 200 butterfly, you better get more oxygen. You better do something more like, I'm going to breathe 2 strokes, and then I'm going to hold my breath 1 stroke, instead of going every other stroke. But you need to have that plan. So you don't dive in your 200 butterfly and you hold your breath for the first 6 strokes and all of a sudden you're dead. You're just dying right there in the middle of your race. You don't want that to happen. Not at your championship meet, guys. Okay, you don't want to wing it. You don't want to turn the car south and say, hope I arrive in Fort Myers. You want to have the plan. All right, let's say you come to something as simple as the 50 freestyle, okay? Don't you just splash and dash? Isn't it just dive in and go as fast as you can? Absolutely not. I was working with a swimmer just yesterday named Austin. Austin wants to do a really incredible time, 21.6. Great cut. It's a futures cut in the 50 free. Well, you can't just dive in and hope that it goes well and just go fast. What we did is we came up with a race plan. How many dolphin kicks is he going to do after his start? How many dolphin kicks is he going to do off the turn? How many breaths is he going to take on the first lap? How many breaths is he going to take on the second lap? You've got to know these things, guys. You've got to have that plan, because if you don't, you're leaving it up to chance. You're just hoping beyond hope that you do well. You don't want to do that. So what we came up with was, first lap of the pool, 1 breath. Second lap of the pool, 1 breath. He might even take 0 breaths if he's really feeling good on that first lap. Okay, but he knows when he is going to take that breath. It's not a game of chance. It's a game of planning. And that's what we need to do when you get to your races at your meet. You're not going to walk up to your coach and just go, "Coach, how do I swim the 50 free?" No, you want to know in advance. I'm going to take this many dolphin kicks. For Austin, it was 6 dolphin kicks off the start. He's going to know how many breaths he's going to take, and how many strokes after he starts swimming is he going to take that breath. So you want to know your plan for the 50 free, for the 100 free, for the 200 free, for the 500 free. It is a different plan for each race, and you want to know that plan. How are you going to divide it up? How are you going to breathe? Are you going to breathe every 3 strokes, every 2 strokes, every 4 strokes? You and your coach need to come up with a breathing plan, because breathing impacts your race in a huge way. We've got to have oxygen, and you got to have oxygen at the right time so that you can swim your race properly. Okay? So we want to know how to divide up your race. We want to know your breathing plan. We want to know how many dolphin kicks are you going to take off of your start and off of your turns. Not only when are you going to take those dolphin kicks, but how many, right? So, and then we also want to make sure that as you're putting together your plan for your races, you want to have a plan for your kicking. For example, I was talking to Addie yesterday. Addie's putting together her plan for her 500 freestyle. Now, if she dives in and starts kicking as hard as she can on the first 50, she might as well forget it for the rest of the race. She is going to be absolutely dead basically by the second 100 of the 500. You don't want that. You don't want to burn up all your fuel in that first 50. You want to manage your legs. You want to manage your kick. So what do? We start out with kind of medium legs. The kick should be steady and constant, but it cannot be a sprint kick. Then in the second 100, build it up a little bit more. Third 100, even a little bit more. So here's my point to you guys. You got to have a plan, and that plan has to address certain aspects of your race. How am I going to divide up this race? How am I going to manage my legs? How am I going to breathe at the different parts of the race? How many dolphin kicks am I going to take off the start and off the turns? Having a plan gives you confidence in these areas, and it also gives you the ability to perform, okay? Because we want to be able to perform in the way that's going to give us the maximum advantage and the maximum efficiency for our races, okay? So this is the time. Get together with your coaches. Talk about your plan. Talk about, these are my 6 races that I'm going to swim at my championship meet. And how am I going to swim these races? How am I going to divide it up? How am I going to breathe? How am I going to kick? And how am I going to manage my kick? And how am I going to manage my energy? All right, before we go, just a brief one-to-one tonight, because most of this work is going to be done between you and your coach. I just want to push you guys to talk to your coach. I also want you to make sure that you have a plan that involves nutrition, okay? You don't want to show up at your meet and let's say it's a 3-day meet. Most championship meets are 3-day meets. You don't want to show up at your meet with no food and no drink and have to go to the snack bar, okay, and have Kit Kats and Fun Dip. Hey, I like Kit Kats and Fun Dip. I think I'll have that before the 500 free. No way. Can't do that. You cannot do that and expect to perform well. You've got to have good nutrition, good fuel to go into the tank so that you can perform well. You want to have a bagel. You want to have fruit. You want to have water. You want to have Gatorade. You want to have things that are good for you, pretzels. Just those things that are not going to upset your stomach and that are not going to give you a sugar rush, okay? Because you might feel good after eating that whole bag of Fun Dip, but then within about 15 minutes, you're not going to feel so good. So you want to make sure you have a nutrition plan as part of your race plan as well, because we want to put right fuel in the tank for performance, okay? So many of you have your championship meet in 2 weeks, some of you 3 weeks, and some of you 4 weeks. But now's the time. Please don't wait until you arrive on deck to ask your coach, Coach, how do I swim this race? Know in advance, not only so that you can perform well, so that you can have confidence. Confidence is key, guys. Think about how good you feel before a race when you say, you know what, I got this. I got this. A great young man who swims one-to-one sessions with me. His name is Alex. And 1 week we were working on turns and we were working on butterfly. And at one point in his lesson, he said, I got this. And suddenly he had all this confidence, and the rest of the lesson, he just nailed it. Confidence flips a switch and helps you perform at such high levels. Having a plan gives you confidence. It helps you perform, and it helps you meet your goals, which we talked about earlier, those goals that set you to the next level and send you to that next level in your swimming. Okay? All right. If you have any questions about any of your race planning, you can always feel free to reach out to us, but the first place to go is your coach. All right? Good. All right, so hope you guys have a great week. If you have any questions, feel free to send in those questions. Make comments below on the Facebook Live. If you have any further questions, you can go to our website, iSwim 1-to-1. You can learn more there about the iSwim 1-to-1 lessons, the sessions. You can learn more about the mentoring for coaches, and you can learn about remote coaching, remote lessons, if you live out of town and you want to do something and take your swimming to the next level through that medium. Okay? Awesome. All right, hope you guys have a great week, and review your goals, and we'll see you next week. All right, see ya. Bye-bye.